Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Good day, sir. Please let me introduce our group. We are from Group 10, which consists of 4 members. I am Rika Safitri as the manager, Agis Fariskila as the translator, Amelia Hanakaru as the editor, and Umi Kalsum Siregar as the proofreader. I am the manager in charge of the translation process from start to finish. I, as the project manager, define and provide the project plan. I'm tasked with monitoring the process of this project, asking if there is a problem experienced by my team, and if there is a problem, I try to encourage my team to tell me the problem, and I will try to discuss this problem with all the members. And of course, my job is also to negotiate, give, and remind my team of the deadlines. As I said earlier, that the project manager is also tasked with asking my team if there is a problem while doing this project, and I have summarized the problems faced by my team. The first problem faced by our translator is that Agis, as the translator, had to find equivalence in the target language because of unfamiliar terms like sincerity, rules, express, and continuum of more or less. There are also some phrases that can be translated directly. For example, the phrase goes so far as. So the translator took more time in finding similar phrases in the target language. And the next problem faced by the editor is that Amel, as the editor, found it a little bit hard to rearrange sentences following Indonesian grammar rules. And then the problem faced by Umi as our proofreader was that Umi finds there were many inaccurate punctuation marks in the translated text, such as unnecessary hyphens, misplaced punctuation marks, many spelling errors that the proofreader found, and many words that the proofreader did not understand in this translation project, like standard words. And proofreader still rarely find them in the text. All right, that's all the problem we have for now. Let's move on to the next agenda. The second member, there will be Agis Fariskila as the translator, who will be presenting the result of her project's progress in translation. For Agis, the time is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Agis Paraskila, and my duty in this project is to be the translator. This is the raw result of my translation. In the translation process, I faced some difficulties to find equivalence in the target language because of many unfamiliar terms and formal words that I've never heard or used before in daily context. Like even in this first sentence, and sincerity rules expressed on page 183, I found it hard to translate it. So I translated into dengan sungguh aturan-aturan menyuarakan. But then I realized that I made a mistake with translating the word sincerity and replaced it with sincerely instead. But I discussed it with our editor Amelia, so she could do me a favor on that part and any other parts, of course. And then I translated essentially different informations into informasi yang pada dasarnya berbeda-beda. Then that is into yaitu. And then facts and guidelines into fakta-fakta dan pedoman. And the sentence that speakers use in working out. I translated it into yang penutur gunakan dalam. Here I chose the word penutur instead of pembicara to find more equivalence in the target language, because the word pembicara could mean something else. It could be someone who is chosen to utter something like events, phenomena, or speech, etc. But in this context, the word penutur actually means speaker, and it has better equivalence for the linguistic context. And then I only translated in working out into dalam in Indonesian. Continued with the next line, utterance meanings on the basis is translated into menyatakan maksud atas dasar, assumptions about each other's beliefs and intentions to be asumsi tentang keyakinan dan niat satu sama lain. Okay, now we're moving on to the second paragraph. In other words, is translated into dengan kata lain. The first are concerned with context-free proportional structure, into yang pertama berhubungan dengan struktur proporsi bebas konteks, and semantic sense into dalam istilah semantik. And then while the second are concerned with context sensitive, is translated into sementara yang kedua berhubungan dengan kepekaan konteks dan sentence language specific communicative value is translated into nilai komunikatif khusus bahasa. And finally, the last sentence of this paragraph, Bryce even goes far as to define meaning in terms of illustrationary force, is translated into Greece, bahkan lebih jauh menjelaskan makna dalam istilah gaya ilokusi. I think that's all that I can explain for now from the translation process. In addition, most of the difficulties that I faced in translating the text are concerned with the unfamiliar terms and phrases. Like even after I found the translation, I'm not quite sure if the result is equivalence because the words that are used even in the target language, my own native language, are too formal and unfamiliar for me, and maybe only used in educational context. So the result for me is still raw. And as I said, I'm not quite sure if it's equivalent enough, but I believe that I and my team would do the best we can for this project, and they would help me to overcome the problems that I faced by working and discussing this translation project together. Thank you.
So next, we move on to the editing progress. My name is Amelia Hanakaru, and I am in charge of editing the translation text. So as you can see on the screen, here is the edited translation draft that I edited using track changes in Microsoft Word. The first change I made is in the first sentence. Agis translated the sincerity rules expressed as dengan sungguh aturan-aturan menyuarakan. I found this odd because after I checked the original text or the source text, it said sincerity, and I know that the word sincerity doesn't mean sungguh-sungguh. And I thought maybe she had mistaken the word sincerity as sincerely. So I discussed this matter with Agis, and it turned out that she actually had mistaken the word. And of course, as the editor, I edited a draft following the original text. Next, I made changes to some terms. Here, I only italicized the term following the original text. Moving on, I corrected this word order. First, it was lebih jauh menjelaskan, and it didn't really follow the correct word order in our language, Indonesian, and it sounded off, so I changed the word order to menjelaskan lebih jauh. The next part that I edited is this part. This is where I had a problem while editing this draft. I had a little trouble making the sentence appear nice to read and understood. As you can see, suatu kesan di mana pengirim berniat untuk menghasilkan kepada penerima melalui sebuah pesan is not fully correct and confusing, at least for me. So I changed it into suatu kesan yang ingin dihasilkan oleh pengirim kepada penerima melalui sebuah pesan. Even though I figured it out, I remember it took so long to rearrange the sentence according to Indonesian grammar rules and not to change the meaning from the original text. Here, I removed the word untuk because the word was unnecessary, and in Indonesia we call it bertele-tele. And then here I edited the word italic following the original text. Move on to the next part. I corrected the translation text by adding the word telah because in the text it said we have been addressing, which indicates that it is present perfect continuous tense, and it is defined as an action that started in the past but continues in the present. And in Indonesian language, to describe this kind of situation, we use the word telah. So I added telah to make the translation correct. The next is the removal of the word makna, because I think there was a translation error here. The sentence in the original text is what means are there for regulating them. And I thought the word means was not supposed to be translated. I look for the translation text in Malay as the reference to correct this one. Then I deleted unnecessary parts of the text like this, speech ad, and penutur, because it was not in the original text. Also, I corrected a typo here. And then from this part, I added the word order kegunaan ragam to ragam kegunaan, and I added the word menjadi and also corrected a typo here. And for the last page of our progress, I only edited a little. I only corrected some punctuation from this page, like the and dash in here. I edited it to make it look the same as the original text. Then I remove the word buat, as in Indonesian, dibuat-buat and dibuat have a different meaning, even though it is just word repetition. So in my opinion, the phrase in the original text appropriately made in the can be translated into dibuat dengan baik, not dibuat-buat dengan baik. Also here I corrected typo again and the and dash here. And that's all for my editing progress this far. I apologize if I made any mistake in editing this draft. I am open to suggestions and feedbacks from my members and also from Mr. Rudy so that I can edit this better in the following parts of our translation project. Thank you. And next is the proofreading progress by Umi.
Hello everyone, my name is Umi Kasim Siregar. As the proofreader in this translation project, my main task is to ensure that there are no typos, inconsistent use of certain terms, or correction of sentences that are difficult to understand or not suitable for EYD for Indonesian. Sentences that are not standard and ineffective, and the lack of coherence and cohesion between paragraphs. The point is, in other words, I re-examine the writing by rereading it. The process I did first was to read the entire edit text. Then I checked the punctuation in this translated text. In this translation, there are a lot of wrong punctuation marks. For example, in the following sentences, after the semantic word appeared should be used instead of punctuation mark. Then the word after the dot should start with a capital letter. Then I found the wrong writing or wrong word. For example, in sentence, dan aturan kesungguhannya mengungkapkan informasi yang pada dasarnya. Here I corrected the word kesungguhannya into kesungguhannya or sincerity. I think that's all I can say in this translation project. If I made a mistake, I apologize. Thank you.
All right, that's all for our translation project progress. Thank you so much and have a nice day, everyone.